Alright, so apparently I was punked again into thinking there was a brand new My Hero Academia chapter, but that is not the case. I literally pull up My Hero Academia and it says like, oh, there's no chapter. We're on break. So it's like, I literally just had this chapter up last night and it said that it was going to be dropping in a couple of hours. And then I refresh it and it's not even there. It says like, oh, it's been pushed back. So it's like, okay. Let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. This will be my last reaction for today. And then I got to meet up with some friends on Warframe. We're going to mess around in that game for a little bit. But let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to another Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reaction and review. If you're wondering what I have here, I mean, it's fairly obvious who it is, but it's something that I had boxed up, and I'm just now deciding to open it now because it was like, I don't know what I was waiting to open up this figure. It's the SH figure arts of Satoru Gojo. Now, mind you, this is the main one. I still got the Jujutsu Kaisen 01 that's on my shelf. But yeah, this is Gojo, and I only have him in this pose because he was I took some pictures where he's in front of all of my Jujutsu Kaisen manga. Yeah, I'm a nerd, but I haven't tried out all the different poses. I haven't tried out all the different hands or whatever. This is just the most iconic one because of his curse technique. So, yeah, and it's highly posable. It's very flexible, and it's very articulated, and it's very cool. This is the first time I've ever owned well, it's not the first time because the first one I have is one of Thor from Endgame. Haven't even opened that one up. So, yeah. I got Gojo here. I'm going to be messing with him. And the fact that he's able to just, I want to say, effortlessly stand on my mic stand is equally cool. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be messing with Gojo later on. Seeing what poses I can put him in. What pictures I can take. Stuff of that nature. But you're not here to hear me talk about Gojo and his SH Figure Arts figure. You're here for Jujutsu Kaisen. Because last we left off, Sukuna was facing off against Yorozu, and we learned that Yorozu's curse technique is not incredibly powerful. She had to work really hard in order to get it to where it is right now, but all of her efforts against Sukuna has basically been fruitless. They've basically been fruitless, and everything that Sukuna has done against her has put her on the back burner. So, and then it ends with Yorozu going like, "What do you know about love?" And then Sukuna laughs because it makes it seem like he knows. And then she goes like, "You don't know what that is. I'm going to teach you what it is." So let's see what happens in today's chapter. Chapter 219, Bath, Part 4.
Today is the Harvest Festival. Why did we invite a monster like that?
The invitation itself isn't so bad, but why do we have to pray to Sukuna for our crops?
Oh, is this back in time? This must be back in time. Also, Ogata-san, it's always a pleasure to see you here. But this must be back in time during Sukuna's first reign.
But why do we have to pray to Sukuna for our crops?
Have you forgotten? Elite warriors in the northern Fujiwara forces, known as the Sun, Moon, and Star Squad, were ripped apart. So were the 5 empty generals. We must show that we bear no ill will and seek peaceful and friendly relations.
I gotta move Gojo because he's in the way of the keys. Thank God he's so heavily articulated where I can put him down anywhere and it's not like, oh, he falls over because his joints are loose. Thank God. And then it cuts to someone going, that
Hikinizu once committed similar acts of savagery, yet received an appointment here in the capital. What's becoming of the capital of Heian?
Master Yorozu! Yorozu!
What? Keep it down! Today is the Harvest Festival. Please put something on. It can even be informal. Otherwise, the wise will give you heck for it. Huh. I'll be the one to give them heck fart. The festival is sure to have Chinese pastries as offerings to the gods.
And it shows Yorozu, who's just chilling, who's just incredibly comfortable just laying around naked.
And I haven't had any for a while.
Okay, going back here.
The festival is sure to have Chinese pastries as offerings to the gods. And I haven't had any for a while.
No, this isn't that type of festival. And then Yorozu makes her way over to what's happening, and she steps in, and she's met face to face with Sukuna. Mind you, she's still walking around in the buff. She's just got a robe over her, but it's incredibly loose. Master Yorozu! And it's Sukuna standing there. Well, he's sitting there. Mind you, this is Sukuna how he appears 1,000 years ago. Like his contorted face off to one side, and his really big muscular body and arms, and what appears to be Uraume right next to him. And then Yorozu sees him, and she runs right over. She runs right over to Sukuna and goes,
"What's wrong with everyone? Why don't they understand?"
And she just jumps over, and she just embraces Sukuna.
"Don't worry, I'm here. You aren't alone."
And then all of a sudden, a patch of ice just appears directly in front of her, and before Yorozu can get hit by it, because this is Uraume who did this, Uraume goes,
"Step back, lackey." "Why don't you back off?"
Oh, she didn't just have like a blade of ice go in front of Yorozu. She cut Yorozu straight across the midsection. They are going to heavily censor this scene because she jumps back up and her robe is just open. Mind you, nothing is incredibly detailed or graphic here, but you can clearly see that she ain't got nothing on, and it's not even covering up the naughty bits. Mind you, those bits are not even drawn, but it's just the wind is just blowing and you see the cut go across her midsection, like all the way from their collarbone, from the middle of her chest, all the way to the side.
"From now on, I'll be the one standing there, and I won't let him look so lonely."
And as she says this, she gets confused as a spray of blood just shoots out from her midsection. Yorozu!
Ah, I knew it. What a painful wound. I want your solitude all for myself. It belongs to no one but me, because I am the one who will kill you.
And then it cuts to Yorozu, who's already coughing up blood just a little bit, and I guess she condenses her liquid metal into a perfect sphere. Like a literal perfect sphere. There's no indentions or nothing. It is a literal perfect sphere. And Sukuna sees this. We're back in the present day now. We're back in the present day. Not gonna lie, Yorozu is fine. She is. Jujutsu Kaisen's got a lot of fine-looking ladies, Ogata. A lot of them. From Mei to Yuki, and I mean, all of them. All of them, when you think about it.
This is a perfect sphere.
And she takes that sphere and she launches it at Sukuna. And there's a piece of rib stuck back there. I'll get it later. She launches it, she looks like she launches it at Sukuna, and the indention where the sphere was leaves a perfect indention. Like it's perfectly smooth from the imprint of the sphere. So think of Vanilla Ice's stand abilities. Think of that where it can bore from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm thinking of both the stand user and the stand at the same time, but I think it's called Ice Cream, not Vanilla Ice, or it's just called Ice. Whichever one that Avdol and Iggy were going up against, and it can carve out a giant portion of anything because of, it erases things from spaces. That's essentially what this black sphere does. Because it leaves a perfectly smooth indention as it goes straight forward.
A true sphere is thought to be impossible. It has no contact area, so it generates infinite pressure.
A perfect sphere is untouchable. So how will you handle... How will you handle true love?
And then it cuts to Yorozu attempting to do her own domain expansion.
Domain expansion. Threefold affliction.
And then it just surrounds Sukuna in what looks to be like hanging, I want to call them hanging wombs because they remind me of Naoya Zenin's domain expansion, where it was just like a giant womb that had like an eye in the middle and that caused harm to whoever moved, even the cells in their bodies. If they moved, then it caused instant hit damage. It's like that, but they're all just hanging around. These are some really twisted Junjo Ito style, I hope I said his name right, domain expansions that everyone has. Only Gojo's and Megumi's domain expansion seem to be the only ones that doesn't look like it's straight out of body horror. But they're in this domain, and Yorozu is surprised to see that Sukuna hasn't tried opening his own domain yet.
Why isn't he opening his domain? He saw what my sphere does, and it's guaranteed to hit in this domain. If I activated my curse technique, he's toast.
With this treasure, I summon.
Oh! He did it. He did it. He spins the wheel of Maharaga that's on his back, and he drops it into a shadow. And in place of that, he summons Maharaga. And Maharaga pops up, and he destroys the perfect sphere. Just completely destroys it.
Impossible. He destroyed True Sphere.
And it shows Maharaga, because remember, Maharaga has a blade that is capable of dispelling and disrupting curse techniques. Literally has a blade that's wrapped and grafted to his arm that can disrupt curse techniques. So him bringing in he brought in Maharaga. He brought in Maharaga and destroys the curse technique instantly.
He destroyed True Sphere.
And then it shows Maharaga preparing to bring his hands down. And then we see the area where Yorozu's domain expansion happened start to dissipate. There's only one reason why a domain expansion would be dissipating like it's crumbling away. And it shows a crater and where Yorozu is, though she's at a distance so we can't really see what she looks like. And Sukuna talking.
An energy inefficient curse technique like yours always ends up the same. Whatever you construct, the substance appropriates.
I can't even speak without something happening.
Whatever you construct, the substance appropriates the liquid metal or insect armor you're using. But I've already adapted to it.
I told you that's what he was doing with Maharaga's wheel. I told you all that's what he was doing. Everything that Yorozu tried to throw at him, he basically adapted using Maharaga's floating wheel behind his back. He made himself adapt to everything she tried, so that means that nothing she tried afterwards would work. He just made himself immune to her entire curse technique. And then brought in Maharaga to get rid of her domain expansion.
But I've already adapted to it.
What? You know all that about me? I'm so happy. Here, this is for you. Think of it as me and use it with care.
And then it cuts to Megumi, who's like deep within his own body, being held hostage, as he's just laying there. He's just laying there as if he's underwater in a sea of despair. And it's just Megumi just laying there in the dark with like a lone light that's over him. So Sukuna just basically took down Yorozu, and in the process, took out Sumiki as well. Dang. I was hoping it wouldn't come to this conclusion, but this is all to further Sukuna's plans of making Megumi's body more of his own. And he succeeded. Good God, this man really can't be stopped, can he? Like, hold on. Let me come down here. Let me go down to the chapters themselves. They really don't like updating this wiki page to have a full synopsis of these chapters, do they? I'm like, dang, y'all can't just keep this thing updated? All right, so 1,000. Oh, here's just a short summary. 1,000 years ago, Yorozu met Sukuna at a harvest festival and has been infatuated with him ever since. A millennium later, Yorozu gets her chance to settle the score and use everything she has to show Sukuna her love. However, the King of Curses is only interested in drowning the souls of those involved. So, basically, he really does. I mean, it's already obvious. Please tell me Sumiki isn't dead. I hope not. I hope not. I really hope not. But, I mean, when it comes to a domain expansion being destroyed like that, I don't know. I hope she isn't. Because that's just going to make things even more complicated when it comes to Megumi. Sukuna, like I said, Sukuna has no interest in Yorozu. His only reason for fighting Yorozu is just to make Megumi fall more and more into the pit of despair by killing his sister. Because remember, these are reincarnated sorcerers using the bodies of people who already exist. So Megumi's body is taken over by Sukuna, and he's just in there. He can't override that at the moment. He can't override that. Sumiki definitely can't override that because Yorozu just basically took over her body. But the whole reason why Sukuna decided to take on Yorozu in the first place is because of what seeing the body of Megumi's sister mangled and dead would do to Megumi. It'll fill him with despair, a sense of hopelessness, and therefore make it much better for Sukuna to have his body tailored as a vessel. So that's the reason why Sukuna's even doing this fight in the first place. Like, he don't love Yorozu. He's never been interested from the very beginning. And now that that's been done, I mean, the man is this man is capable of summoning Maharaga anytime he wants to. He's just been using Maharaga's wheel to adapt to everything that Yorozu was doing so that she would run out of options, and then he just cut her down. Just right then and there. I really hope that Sumiki isn't dead because of this, or just I know I hope too much in a series that seems like all hope is lost. I really hope that's not the case, but I mean, Sukuna's won. Sukuna has won this fight. I don't know what else to say about this chapter. Like, we see Yorozu's history. And she's been infatuated with Sukuna ever since. But Sukuna does not care at all. And then he just cuts her down like it's no problem. Like I said, I really hope that Sumiki isn't dead, but we're just going to have to wait until the next chapter. I did like this chapter. I actually thought that the perfect sphere was going to do something. But all we saw was its introduction. All we saw is that it's capable of just basically erasing whatever gets hit by it through sheer pressure. And not only is it just completely dismissed by Maharaga, but even Yorozu's domain expansion does little to deter Sukuna in any way, because he just summons Maharaga, dispels the domain expansion, and destroys the perfect sphere, and then just cuts down Yorozu. And then she gives him something. I don't know what it is, but she says, think of it as me. Let me go back to it. Think of it as me and use it with care. So I'm just wondering, is she giving Sukuna her liquid metal curse technique? Because that would be interesting. I don't know if that's the case here, but that would be interesting if he... Like, the man can already take other techniques from other people who he's like a vessel of, and he can use it. He apparently can copy other abilities due to his fight with Jogo, so it'd be scary if he's capable of getting access to Yorozu's liquid metal curse technique, because then he'll be able to make any construct he wants, but because his cursed energy output and immenseness is so massive, he'd probably put much better use to the liquid metal curse technique than Yorozu ever has. So that'll be scary if this man just keeps getting buff after buff after buff. It's like, how do you beat this man? Really don't know how the good guys can possibly win anymore? Neither do I! Eric, I have no idea. Every time we... here's my thing. Every time we see Sukuna, he gets a brand new power, or he gets a new buff, and he just blitzes whoever's in front of him. Even when this man only had like one finger, that was possibly Sukuna's weakest, because Yuji was strong enough to override Sukuna's control. But as the fingers increased, as the amount of fingers that Yuji ingested increased, so did the power of Sukuna, to the point where this man put him in a binding vow that Yuji didn't even remember. And now he pretty much put all of himself into like Yuji's pinky, and then made Megumi eat it, and it, through that 1% chance, got into the body of a 10 Shadows technique user, which has a bunch of incredibly powerful Shikigami under his control, and has Maharaga, who he also kind of adapted to his own style, just taking Maharaga's entire wheel above him, making it so that he can adapt to in and every attack that's done against him, has a Shikigami that can also dispel and disrupt other curse techniques, and also uses reverse curse technique to heal. We have an piercing ox Shikigami that is capable of only moving in one straight line, but its offensive power is immense the longer it charges. And then, of course, all the other Shikigami, and let's not forget that all of these are powered up even further due to Sukuna's immense curse level. Now, this man is capable of just bringing in Maharaga, who doesn't instantly go out of control when summoned. He just destroys the Dark Sphere and then uses Maharaga to cut down Sumiki, and this man does everything effortlessly. That's the thing, Eric. That's the thing. Every single time we see Sukuna doing something more than just talking, he is either completely wrecking someone or gaining a new ability. That Harvest Festival section of the chapter was my favorite. It was interesting seeing Sukuna in that form, because remember, it was in a flashback panel, where we saw Sukuna in that big, buff, multi-armed, multi-eyed, half-face contorted type look. But to see him sitting down and he's just chilling at this Harvest Festival, yeah, it was cool seeing him this way. And I don't think we've ever seen Sukuna talk in this form. I don't think we have. I could be wrong, someone will correct me. But every single time Sukuna does something, and mind you, I gotta go back to what Eric said here. I don't know how the good guys, I don't know how Yuji and company are going to win. Because every time we see Sukuna do something, it just reminds me that Kenjaku's still out there trying to combine all of humanity with Tengen. And if he turns that amalgamation into a cursed spirit and gains control of it, then Kenjaku will have access to basically a cursed spirit that is capable of warping reality. Because Tengen has essentially become one with the world due to him not having a vessel, and therefore if something happens to Tengen, then something happens to the world as a whole. That's still on Kenjaku's side. That's still on Kenjaku's side. So, all the stuff that's happening with Sukuna, we still got another big bad to worry about. I don't know how we're going to get out of this. Look, if they just got to get Gojo out. I'm not saying that Gojo is going to automatically win. I'm not saying that Gojo is going to automatically win, but he'll put up the biggest fight out of pretty much everyone else. But honestly, I don't know how everything is going to get resolved, because it seems like these bosses keep getting buff after buff after buff. This is something you would see the heroes getting in preparation for the boss. But the boss is getting buffed before the heroes can even get to him. Okay, I'm going to add 10 Shadows Curse technique, which gives me multiple techniques that I can use. I'm going to add the ability to copy other curse techniques somehow. We don't have Yuki with us anymore, no idea where Yuta is and if he has a chance with one of them. We got Sukuna with his regular abilities and his immense cursed energy. He's got all these different abilities under his repertoire. Reverse curse technique Shikigamis, offensive Shikigamis, endless Shikigamis that function with the rabbits. He literally 10 Shadows techniques gives Sukuna far more capabilities, but they're all amped up because of his immense power. Not only that, but he's capable of taking the special ability of Maharaga and using it on himself to make him immune to the last thing that affects him. And he can immediately adapt to it so that that technique or attack doesn't even work on him anymore. This man is already overpowered. And this man keeps getting even more overpowered. I don't know how you're supposed to beat this man. I'm confused. How are you supposed to beat someone who is this unstoppable? Because the only one to come out of this, he came out this fight with Yorozu completely unscathed. He's just standing there. And even as Yorozu says, what, you know all that about me? I'm so happy. And Sukuna is just looking at her with like the most blankest stare, like he is not fazed by any of this. His clothes don't even have a single scratch on them. He doesn't have a single scuff mark. He doesn't have any dirt on his clothes. This man has been untouched during this entire fight all this time. How do you stop this man? I don't know. This is just crazy to me. Like, how is this story of Jujutsu supposed to end? Can someone explain to me? That's a rhetorical question. Don't try to figure that out now. This was a good chapter, but my overall feelings, like what I think about the chapter, because I keep getting this one individual who keeps asking me what I think about the chapter, even though I clearly explained it. I'm not about to write it out in a comment, just watch the video. But I'm just, like, as the story for Jujutsu as a whole, I'm just so empty-headed as to how this is supposed to resolve itself. I can picture how things are going to end in My Hero Academia. I can't picture how things are going to happen in One Piece because that series is just so full of stuff that it could come to any sort of end. But Jujutsu, I don't know how the heroes are supposed to come out of this. I don't know. We'll have to wait until next week, but it's like, dang, y'all really out here making it seem like all hope is lost with every single chapter. Like, everything just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's bad for Megumi because he has to see all this stuff happen. Like, he's stuck inside of Sukuna in a sea of despair. A literal sea of despair with a lone light being shown on him. I don't know if he knows that something's happened to his sister or if he's just stuck there. I don't know. But we're going to have to see what happens in next week's chapter. Hopefully we're not going on break because Viz hasn't really been showing it all that often. Maybe the heroes aren't supposed to win. That would not surprise me. There have been so many series where the good guys, and I say good guys with parentheses because you can't really count anyone as good, just as people who are trying to keep bad spirits from taking over. So maybe this isn't a story where the heroes are supposed to win. But I'm scared to see what a type of world like that would actually look like. One, a manga story where the villain wins. Just looked it up. May 12th will be your 1-year anniversary reading Jujutsu. Almost been reading a full year. Wow, really? I haven't really been keeping track of how long I've been reading Jujutsu. It's been a year? Good lord. Man, so much time dedicated to all these series. May 12th. I'll remember it, because around May 12th, my copyright struck on my channel should disappear as well, because it'll be 90 days. So, a lot of things to celebrate in May. A lot of things to celebrate in April. My sister's birthday is this month. My youngest sister's birthday is this month. April 29th will mark 10 years I have been on YouTube, even though I didn't really start YouTube until like a couple of years later. It's like 10 years that I have officially been on YouTube, like when I created my account all the way up to now, so it'll be 10 years. But there's a lot of things to celebrate. I don't know about the story as a whole. Sorry if I'm sidetracking, Eric. It's just that I tend to talk about these things for quite a bit. And no break. Good, because I want to see what happens next week. But maybe this isn't a story where the heroes are supposed to win. I mean, another example would be Overlord. I mean, Ainzel Gon and the people of Nazarick are not good guys. They're the villains. They are fundamentally the villains. And yet, strangely enough, a lot of people root for them simply because they're written so well. But I don't know. This may not be a story where things go well for people. I mean, it's already shown that, but maybe this isn't a series where it ends with the bad guys gone and the good guys riding off into the sunset sort of deal. This may not have that type of ending the way things are being described here. I don't know. We're going to have to find out next week. But that's where I'm going to call it for my reactions today, ladies and gentlemen. I thought we were going to have My Hero Academia today, but I got punked, and therefore we don't have one until next week. We haven't seen Yuji in a while. We haven't seen anyone else in a while because a lot of these chapters have just been focused on Sukuna. We haven't seen Yuji, Maki, Yuta, Kinji. We haven't seen Taka. What is his name? Takabe. Takabe. Is his name Takabe? The comedian guy. What is his name? Takaba? Is it Takaba? Yeah, Takaba. We haven't seen pretty much anyone in a long time. The villains just took over the manga. They really did. We got Kenjaku, who bodied both Choso and Yuki and took Tengen. And now we got Suguna, who took over Megumi's bodies using his techniques and is trying to mold Megumi's body to be the perfect vessel. Gojo has been gone for so long. I miss him. We all do. We all miss Gojo. It's been so long. SH Figure Arts Gojo. It's been so long since we last seen Gojo. Last time we saw, he's just biding his time inside of the prison realm. That's it. But it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen a good deal of people. Hopefully we'll see them soon. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait until then. We have no choice but to wait. But things are not looking good. Things are not looking good at all. So hopefully things will try and get better later on. I hope so. But that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry if I've been talking your ears off, but it's just like going through a story like this where things just keep going from bad to worse to horrendous to terrible to catastrophic to apocalyptic. It just keeps going. For every one good moment, there's 15 other bad moments that happens. But yeah, we'll just have to wait until next week. Sorry if I went on for too long. It's just that when I get going, I get going with this. So, to everyone here, all I can say at the end of the day is, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples!